So an over-under is a number. Fox Bet says Green Bay 9. That means they ask you, do you think they're going to win more? You bet the over. Or less, you bet the under. So I thought the next 2 days at this time, we'll do over-under bets. Let's start with the NFC over-under bets. Here we go.
All right, all odds are provided by Fox Bet. The Dallas Cowboys, 9.5 wins, over or under?
I think that's one of the easier bets on the board. I would go under. I think they just lost really good capital. I think they lost their leading sacker in Robert Quinn, their best corner in Byron Jones, their second best offensive line talent right now in Travis Frederick. And frankly, they got a new coach and a new coordinator, so that's an easy one, under.
New York Giants, 6.5 wins, over or under?
It's close to a push, but I would take the under because new coaches and new coordinators. Also, they've only won more than 7 games once since 2013. And here's the other thing. Their schedule's tough. They're going to face the AFC North. Okay. Pittsburgh's defense, Baltimore's defense, Cleveland's defense. They're also going to face the NFC West. Seattle's defense, Aaron Donald and the Rams, San Francisco's defense. I think the under on the Giants. Under.
Philadelphia Eagles, 9.5 wins, over or under?
Over. First of all, I think they had a sneaky good acquisition in wide receiver Marquise Goodwin. They picked up one of the NFL's best corner, Darius Slay. They also drafted a receiver, Jalen Rieger from TCU, and they kept both coordinators. So I think they should be favored in their division. I think Philadelphia feels like a 10 or an 11-win team. They cannot possibly have the injuries. It's not possible to have the injuries they felt with. They won, 9 games last year, and they were injury-riddled on their O-line, their secondary, and their receiving core.
The Washington Redskins, 5 wins, over, under, or push?
This feels like an obvious over. First of all, Ron Rivera has never won less than 5 games in a season. And they have quietly, their defense is top 3rd in the NFL. It's going to get better. You're going to go from Jay Gruden, an offensive guy, to Ron Rivera, a defensive guy. They drafted Chase Young, and they also went and got Kendall Fuller and Ronald Darby at corners and Thomas Davis at linebacker. This is going to be a top 6 or 7 defense in the NFL. If Chase Young is as good as we think, they're going to win more than 5 games. And Dwayne Haskins, if he's just serviceable, they'll win games.
The Chicago Bears, 8 wins, over, under, or push?
Feels like the perfect number. I wouldn't bet it. It's a push. 8 games is what they feel like. They won 8 games last year. I didn't think their draft was spectacular. I don't think they added a lot of difference makers, and they lost a couple of people in free agency I like. I think Matt Nagy is a very good coach. Too good to be horrible. But I think they'll start with Trubisky, move to Nick Foles. In the division, frankly, Green Bay's got talent. Minnesota's got talent. I think 8's a push.
The Detroit Lions, 6.5 wins, over or under?
I think it's a mess. I think it's an under. I think it's a 5-6 win team. Matt Patricia's struggled. Matt Stafford's coming off an injury, but the division's really, really good. They lost Darius Slay. They had a nice draft, but I just don't think they have enough playmakers in that division. I don't see that team capable of going toe-to-toe with Minnesota's roster, Aaron Rodgers in that offense, or frankly, Matt Nagy, I think, is a significantly better coach. So I think it's, again, a woeful season for Detroit.
The Green Bay Packers, 9 wins, over, under, or push?
To push. I think that's the number. Remember, they went 7-1 in one-possession games. You could say to yourself, well, that's because of Aaron Rodgers. Nah, that one-possession wins like that generally don't translate year after year, despite having a great quarterback. They also lost Blake Martinez, who was a tackling machine for them last year, and they were outgained last year. Let's not kid ourselves. Very few times do you see, you'll have 1 or 2 teams a year that make the playoffs and get outgained. It's usually a wild card team. They were 13-3 and were outgained.
The Minnesota Vikings, 8.5 wins, over or under?
Again, that seems like an easy one. That's over. I thought they added 2 starters in the first round. Jeff Gladney, the corner from TCU, and Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver from LSU. I also think they had some defensive losses, but I think Mike Zimmer is a great defensive coach. So this is a really good, well-run organization, well-coached. And, Kirk Cousins, say what you want, he wins a lot. He may not win a lot of big games, but he wins a lot of games. This is an easy over for me. Minnesota is a 9 or a 10 win team.
The Atlanta Falcons, 7.5 wins, over or under.
I would say they're at that number. I'd probably bet the under, like the owner, like the quarterback, but this is what they become, kind of 7-9, 8-8, it feels like. I also think the division is significantly better, so I would say under 7.5.
The Carolina Panthers, 5.5 wins, over or under.
This feels like an easy over. First of all, very quietly, they went out and had a great defensive draft. They also bring in offensively Robbie Anderson, Russell Okung, and Teddy Bridgewater. Those are really good players. So they get a deep threat to go along with DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. So they bring in a third productive wide receiver. They solved their left tackle issue, and Teddy Bridgewater has a winning record. And Matt Rule, and I think this is one of the things Matt knows, Matt's going to make your offense better. He's going to make everybody better. Their question is defense, and they just drafted defensive players solely. So I think they're going to be a very competitive team. This division's scary. I think they're going to be about a 7-9, 8-8 team. But the idea they're rebuilding now, I don't buy it. I think Carolina's got players.
How about Teddy's last team, the New Orleans Saints, 10.5 wins, over or under?
I just think I think they're a really good football team, but that's a huge number. Very few teams win 11 and 12 games in the NFL. Breeze is 41 years old. The division's significantly better. So, I think they could absolutely split with Atlanta, split with Tampa, and split with Carolina. I think they're very good. I think they should be favored to win the division, but 10.5 is a huge number. I think they're a popular team, so people will bet the over. I'd probably bet the under.
Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks, 9.5 wins, over or under.
Again, think they're good. That's a huge number. I'd say bet the under. I think Tom and Bruce Arians, because they didn't have OTAs and because of the virus, could be choppy in September. Their schedule, by the way, they play the AFC West. So that's no day at the beach. They got to play Kansas City. They got to play the Chargers. They got to play Denver and Oakland. And let's just be honest. This could be a very good football team. It's doubtful they're humming in September. So when I get a look at their schedule next Thursday, the NFL releases it, I'll have a much better feeling. But I would say under 9.5.
The Arizona Cardinals, 7.5 wins, over or under.
Again, I think they're rebuilding and they're going in the right direction, but they feel like a 6 or a 7 win team to me. I think the NFC West is just too damn good. I just think it's too good, and I still think their defense is a mess. Isaiah Simmons will help, but their defense last year was the worst in the NFL, and that's facing now Garoppolo, Shanahan, McVay, Goff, Russell Wilson. So I think they're rebuilding in the right direction, but that division's too hard to flip in a year.
The L.A. Rams, 8.5 wins, over or under.
I'm going to go under. I think they're at 500. It's close to a push, but you're not going to push 8.5, so I would go under. Too many losses like Dante Fowler, Wade Phillips. They have a new coordinator. I do like that Jared Goff wants to restructure his contract, but Brandon Cooks, who I was never a huge fan of, but he can play, is gone. They'll need Josh McReynolds to be healthy and play. So I feel the division's good, and I feel 8-9. I think it's real close to the number. I'd probably go under.
Let's go 49ers, 10.5 wins, over or under.
It's replacing Joe Staley with Trent Williams would give me an over. I think they got 2 starters in the first round, and I think Trent Williams is a huge get. Arrested Trent Williams, so that leads me to believe they're just going to keep on rolling.
The Seattle Seahawks, 9.5 wins, over or under.
I think it's an easy over. They were 11-5 last year, despite massive injuries, especially down the stretch. So Russell Wilson's won 10-plus games in 7 of his 8 seasons. I think the NFC Championship feels like Seattle's going to be in it. They went and got a couple of starters defensively in the draft. They also got Quentin Dunbar and Bruce Irvin. Dunbar will start at corner. So I think Seattle last year shocked me. They were a lot better. And I'm from the area. I was shocked that Seattle was a playoff team last year. The young players delivered. DK Metcalf delivered. So I would bet the over on Seattle. Tomorrow we will do the AFC over and unders. All those odds provided by Fox Bet. Chris Sims, NBC Sports, around the corner. His thoughts on the draft we just saw and some things going on with Aaron Rodgers. That's around the corner. With all